Hey folks, Bridges here. We're going to make a video today. We're really using the technology. I'm broadcasting to YouTube and onto my class and to my classroom at the same time, which is why I've got this weird microphone in my face. So we're going to make this drawing of the stack today. You can see on this drawing we've got the front view, we've got a top view projected, and then we've got an isometric view like normal. But then over here on the right side, instead of having a right side view, since the right side and the front would look identical, wouldn't they? Instead of a right side, we've got what's called a section view. And what we see on the section is it's labeled section AA, and we see that it's basically everything that you would see were you to take a knife and slice this part down between A and A. And little side note, what you're looking at here is the arrows. The arrows are pointing to the left. So since we're on the right side, looking at this part from the right, we would be seeing what's on the left. Hence the cutaway section lines in here. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. So to get to this point, we're going to open the stack that we've already made. And we are going to, as usual, we're going to go to File, New Drawing from Design. Check to make sure all your settings are right. ASME is what we're looking for, and we will go ahead and say OK. ASME is what we're looking for because we're using third angle projection here in the US. So it takes it a moment to build the sheet to the specifications that we put in, size B sheet. You can change that if you want. We're not going to. So now our sheet is built, and we're going to put a base view on here. And by default, it looks pretty small compared to the rest of our sheet. Maybe we can make this take up a little bit more space. So we do that by changing the scale, don't we? And let's try 2 to 1. Let's try 2 to 1. And that looks like it might be a little actually too big. I need some room to put some dimensions and things in here. So halfway between 1 and 2, for those math magicians out there, that's 1.5, isn't it? All right, so we could type in a 1.5 here, but that is actually not common practice to leave a decimal in the scale. So instead of doing a 1.5 to 1, okay, treat that like a division problem. What two numbers can we divide to get 1.5? 3 and 2. So we're going to make that a 3 to 2 size, which equals out to be 1.5, and that's perfect right there. I'm going to place my base view right there in the lower left, and I'm going to place it, click to place it. It's not placing it. Try that once again. I'm going to place it and then change my scale size. What do you think about that? 3 to 2. There we go. And I'll say OK. But before I say OK, I really don't care to have the hidden lines on this. I'd like to view just the outside of it. So I'm going to change the visible and hidden edges to just visible edges only. That's up to you on this one. I'm going to leave that up to you, what you want to do. So now I'm going to project. I want to show the top view of this. So as usual, we're going to go to the projected view option on our menu, and we're going to click on the parent view, which is the base. And we're going to come up and project the top. And we're going to project the isometric. We're going to skip the right side. Remember, that's where we're going to put our section view. We will put the isometric up in the corner, and we'll say OK. And from here, now we've got this blank space, and that's where we're going to place our section view. And the section view is located on our menu up here next to projected, next to auxiliary. It's right there, section view. And when we choose section view, just like project, it wants us to choose a parent view first. So that's going to be based on this one. And now it says to specify the start point of the section line. Basically, where do you want to start cutting this object? And we said we want to cut it right down the middle. So we're going to go up here and we're going to find the middle right there. And I actually want to start mine slightly above that. So let's track vertically from that midpoint right there. We'll start, and then now it says specify where you want to stop cutting. So we'll come down and we'll stop directly below the midpoint. Right there. And then enter. That's what we're looking for, folks. Now, where do you want to put that? Let's put it right over here. Okay. notice it does cut it down a depth of full all the way through. Okay, we could do half, we could do a slice. It's whatever you want there, but we're going to do a full depth in this case. So when we do that, there's my little section AA, and it's kind of showing up in the same place that my title block is. So I'm actually going to move my title block. There's probably rules against this, but it seems to me like we've got some empty room over here on the left. So let's just move the title block by moving the little point down in the corner. And we'll just move our title block over and out of the way for now. And we can rearrange this a little bit. We can move our base view up. We can move our isometric out of the way. We can even slide this over to the right here a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good, don't you? Great. At this point, we're ready to start throwing some dimensions on here. And maybe the first thing that you realized was, what type of a hole is this? You guys can tell me. What type of a hole is this here that we're putting on here? It's a shallow, wider hole alongside, at the same place, concentric with a skinny, deeper hole. What's that called? That's a counterbore. Counterbore. So that's one hole feature, okay, with two diameters and two depths. That's a counterbore. So let's start by putting that counterbore dimension in there. And the way that we do that, there's a special symbol for counterbore. We've seen that before. It's like a square U shape, yes? Okay, so let's start by putting that one in there. That's not on the normal dimensions. For whatever reason, that's under the next menu called text. So let's click on the text drop down, everybody. And let's choose, do you see where it says hole and thread note right here? This is what we're trying to get. We're trying to get a note for the hole. So let's choose that hole and thread note option. And what it asks me is, select an edge. So we want an edge of wherever you want the arrow to point to on this counterbore. And I think right here on this top corner of the counterbore is perfect. And then I'll come away, I'll move my leader away at an angle, not vertically, not horizontally, and I'll click that in right there. And I'll say OK. Now wait a minute. When we drilled this hole over here on the stack, we had a specification, and the diameter was not 0.38. That does not sound familiar to me. And it was not 0.88 for the counterbore. Do you guys remember what those were supposed to be? What's going on here? This is, now my seventh bell usually shouts out answers. You guys are quiet. Why is this 0.38? Well, what's happening here?
Because it's rounded, so you can actually like 0.1.
Bingo. Yeah. It's rounding. By default, Fusion 360's drawings are set to show two decimal places, two places after the decimal point. Well, we want to change that. All right, everybody. So let's change this particular drawing. Let's change how many decimal places will be shown. And the way that we do that is over here in the document settings. So you can click on your little pencil, or you could simply right-click and change document settings, either way. And let's look over here on our document settings. Our standard is ASME, great. Units are inches, good. Projection angle, we said was third, excellent. Now the text, I don't really care what my font or the height of my text or any of that stuff. I don't really care about that. What I do care about is right here, the units. So I'm going to expand the units folder. And my units, yes, they're inches. And yes, we're in the decimal format, not fractional. And then here we go. The linear precision is set to 2 decimal places. This linear precision is what we want to change, Tracy, change to 3 decimal places. So we're changing the linear precision from 0.12 to 0.123, and now we're saying OK. Now, magically, look at that. It now shows my 3 decimal places, 0.375, 0.875. Folks, I'm about to turn it over to you. I just want to show you a couple more little tips and tricks. One, since this is a hole that we're seeing, we should probably put a center mark or a center line down there. So, once again, over here in geometry, not dimensions, but geometry, we can use the center line feature. And it says select the first edge of the hole. Well, that's the left side. Select the second edge. Well, that's the right side. And it places a center line in there for us. Now, I'm going to escape out of that tool, and I'm actually going to enlarge and make this a little bit taller because there's more to the hole than just that. So I'm going to make it come up through the top. The whole part has a center line. So that's what I did. I dragged that bigger. Okay, and the last little trick that I want to show you here, we could actually put a center mark on this top one, couldn't we? Center mark right here. Now the last little trick that I want to show you is this. Okay, we've got a lot of diameters that we need to mark here, don't we? So it's up to you whether you want to mark the diameter over here as a circle and mark it that way. That's fine. But let's say you were inclined to mark the diameter over here from the cutaway view, the section view. The way that we can do that is by using a regular dimension. So the diameter of the base, for example, from corner to corner, it is showing the correct diameter, the correct distance of 0.5, sorry. But it's not giving me the diameter symbol. So you can specify a diameter symbol in here by double-clicking the dimension. Simply double-clicking it will let you edit the dimension. And we are going to choose Insert Symbol right here. Ooh, you know what? I'll need to back up. It's best to click your mouse cursor in front of the opening bracket. So click your mouse cursor in front of the opening bracket to place it there. Now we're going to choose Insert Symbol, and we're going to choose, of all these symbols, we're going to choose the first one, diameter, and then press Enter. So this now says diameter 0.5. I think that's all you need from me for this video. Hopefully it was helpful. Let's go ahead and finish your drawing of the stack. Get that, all of your critical dimensions labeled and get that turned in, and have a wonderful day.